Well, this wasn't the next GTO video I had planned. I can promise you that. I gave it a little too much womp womp in the high RPMs, and I hurt the motor. It sounds like a rod knock, but hopefully I wasn't that far from home when it happened. So hopefully it won't take too long to fix, and I'm hoping it's not that bad. But I needed to pull the transmission anyways to put a different 8 HP in there. Hopefully it doesn't have a problem with 6th gear. But this is about as sketchy as it gets. I don't really have access to do it in the barn that I was doing it in, so now I'm going to try and do it on sheets of plywood and what are those, 2x12s? Should be stable enough because that plywood is pretty close to, I think it's close to 3/4 inch thick, so it should be able to sustain, but hopefully I can roll around underneath it. That's the whole point of the plywood. And hopefully I can use the transmission jack underneath there. And then, yeah, then I just got to pull the motor out and pull it into the garage. And hopefully I flip it over and there's only one rod bearing hurt, and hopefully the crank is fine. Might need to take the crank, get it polished, but we'll assess that situation when we get to it. And I might, depending on the damage of the engine, I might slap a cam in it. Didn't really intend on doing that, but I'd rather not have to deal with trying to put a cam in the motor in the car. And if I'm going to deal with it, the engine's already out, might as well just do it. So we will see. I would like to put a BTR stage 2 in it, but this is the situation. Not ideal, but hopefully this will all be just fine. Okay, this is for everyone that wanted to know how well the 8-speed fits down here. So you can see the drive shaft is, I don't know, that's about pretty fucking straight to me. Straight to it. And then here's the trans. So there's how it sits up there. And this is the stock cross member. I'm pretty sure I'm relatively straight in the tunnel, but I need to double check some things before it goes back up again to make sure. But yep, stock cross member. You can see these were where the holes were. And then all I had to do was, I believe it was this side. So this is where the 4L60 was mounted. So these two were here, right? Same thing over here. This one had threads behind it, or a nut welded in behind it. This one does not. So this one, I put a piece of metal up in here and welded a nut to it, and then just kind of put it over the hole, so it's clamped in there. But, and then this is the 4L60 harness stuff right here. I just got it in a Ziploc baggie. Apparently I'm gonna have to do it better because it's all falling apart. The car has been sitting for a minute because I heard it about a month ago. After I got home from Oklahoma, I fucked it up. So the only thing that I absolutely hate about this adapter kit is that it replaces the flywheel entirely, and the torque converter bolts for the 8 HP are inboard a lot farther, and you'll see that when I deal with the transmission or the starter up here to get the bolts out, because the bolts are right up against the block. So if I were to get a different kit or do another one of these cars at some point, I would definitely get the other kit that utilizes the factory flywheel and bolts in a spacer. So that way I can just bolt the spacer onto the torque converter and then bolt the spacer to the factory flywheel. So that way the bolt heads are out farther, which makes it easier to get to. But this is how it sits down here. And then this, oh look at that, it's rusted. This is the bracket that I made for the 4L60 position indicator, and this is the shift rod up here. Man, you probably can't even see it. But this whole setup worked when I tried to use the HTG controller. Because as I shifted, the instrument cluster actually showed me. So as long as you're using the E40 computer that was in this car, it can still be utilized. But right now, it doesn't really do any good. So, but I am still using this for resistance for the shifter, because this little shift rod piece that's going through here is resistance. So that way I can't just flick the shifter through the gears without actually grabbing what I want. Even though the detents for the shift positions are in the console, it's still really, there's no resistance, and it doesn't feel great. See, this is the factory shift rod is up here. So that's how that's done. And then these are the transcooler lines. These are 10AN, which are freaking enormous. They run all the way up into there, up to the transcooler up front. But now it's time to start disassembly. Okay, so here we are underneath the car. Hopefully audio is not terrible because it's windy was quite windy. But this is basically what I was talking about how tight this is down here to try to get a tool in here, because this is right up against the block, right? And then that's one of the 6 bolts to unbolt this. And if this was like a GM flywheel, this bolt would be out here a little further because it's closer to the ring gear. So, and on top of that, this is like a 4mm, not a 5mm head. So you got to be absolutely careful you don't turn the head on it. I mean, I might try and replace these with another set of Allen head bolts that are probably a bigger head than this. But this is very concerning every time I do this. So, and these are such a small bolt, and I can't put too much torque on them, so I Loctite them in. So now I'm also fighting blue Loctite. Hopefully it just comes right off, but that's the situation that I was referring to. Okay, so nope, that was wrong. That would be easier by a long shot, because they're actually right there. So this is why I was thinking it was so close to the block, because this is on the block right here. And there's a relief cut in here. And see, I had wrote them in green arrow to point at them. And I took all these off. That was a nightmare because that was just the ring gear. So I need to redo this now and get all those out. Okay, so the trans is out now. That's the adapter I used. You can see, like, it is just those pieces are so far inboard, whereas if the screws were out here, you know, like a standard GM flywheel, it would be a whole lot easier to bolt it in and out. Don't get me wrong, this is a very nice flywheel setup. It's just really difficult to deal with because the engine's too tight. The engine stuff is too tight, you know what I'm saying? So half the job is done now. All right, at this point, pretty much ready to pull it. Gotta deal with that air conditioning compressor when I go to pull it out. And all this is disconnected up here. Got the couple grounds on the back it's got to be dealt with. Yeah, hopefully this is out tomorrow, so I can figure out what the damage is.